great to see everybody. It's a heck of a turnout. We're real proud. Happy about that. Here's Judge Garcia for us.
It's so good to see everybody here tonight. I just wanted to open up with a prayer to our Lord Jesus Christ tonight. And so if you can bow your heads or move your hats or however you like to worship and pray. Precious Heavenly Father, we just come before you in the name of Jesus, and we thank you, Lord. We thank you for everything that you do every day for us, Lord God. Father, we invite you into this building tonight, Lord, into this church. And we just ask you to be with each and every one of us, Lord. Father, for these candidates, Lord, just give them peace, Lord, and help them to know that they are so important no matter what, Lord, and that you love them and that you want them to show love, Lord. Father, we just thank you for everything you're doing in our nation. Father, I just lay everything before you, and I thank you for each and every person here tonight, and I just ask that you please get us home safe and be with us tonight and just help us to love each other the way you love us. We ask all of this in your name, Jesus, amen. Amen.
Okay, if we can have the 108 candidates make their way up here, and as they do that, I want to just point a couple things out to y'all. So the order is we're going to go through the judicial races first, and then the sheriff's race, and then the state rep races. There are some note cards on the table way out front. If you have any questions for any of the candidates, write down who it's for or which race it's for, and hold it up and we'll have someone come get it from you and bring it up here. We'll be basing a lot of our questions tonight on those. So I'm going to hand it over to Jake Collier. He is going to be working through the 108th race with you all tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for being here. We just appreciate that you are taking the time. And thank you to the people who are running for office. We just appreciate it. You guys want to have a seat? Alright, we're going to go down ballot order. So we're going to start with Sam Brown Silverman. Sam Brown Silverman is a country lawyer with a bow tie. Go ahead.
Sir?
If you would give your intro. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I'm Sam Brown Silverman. I am running for the 108th District Court. I don't know what sort of intro I should be giving. It's relatively straightforward. I've been practicing here for 33 years. I'm native to Amarillo, and I think I would make an excellent judge for the 108th District Court.
Thank you, sir. All right, now, second, we have Pamela Sermon. She is currently practicing family and criminal law. She's also a former judge currently, and is the only candidate who has been a former judge. Take it away.
Thank you. Again, my name is Pamela Sermon. I'm running for judge at the 108th District Court. As with the other gentlemen here, we've all been practicing 30 years, I think 30, 32, 34, 35 years. I do family and criminal law, I do mediation. I'm the only candidate that's been on the bench before. I did 24 years as a county court at law and a district judge. The 108th is available and open, and I'm running for that court. I think I ran a fair court, a quick court. We took care of the cases we had before us, and I'm hoping to go back. We only have a few minutes, and so I was going to tell you, you can look at my Facebook, Select Sermon, or my webpage, Select Sermon, and we have videos up that will do more about introducing us and what the court's about and what the court does. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right, now we'll move on to Tim Pirtle. Tim is currently practicing family and criminal law and has been a lawyer in Randle County for 33 years.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for everybody coming out tonight. My name's Tim Pirtle. I'm running for the 108th District Judge bench, and it's my understanding we're supposed to talk about qualifications of why we're qualified to be a judge. And the short answer that I have is that I will be a really good judge, and here's why. I care about Potter County. I'm a lifelong resident of Potter County. I was born in Potter County at the old Northwest Texas Hospital on 6th Street. I went to school in San Jacinto and Sam Houston. I practiced law full-time in Potter County for 33 years. And here's why I'm running. I was approached several times over the last 10 or 15 years to run to be a judge. And the timing was never right or whatever. But when I heard Judge Doug Woodburn was going to retire, I talked to my wife, talked to some other lawyers, and I thought, it's time. I'm going to run. I want to continue what great job Judge Woodburn has done on that bench, and I want to continue his legacy. Here's what's important to me. I've been asked, what is your number one priority if you're a judge? In practicing law 33 years, there's been a lot of priorities, but I boiled it down to one priority, and that's to protect children. Whether they are victims of a crime or whether they're in the middle of a divorce or custody case. And I will always protect children. I'll always act in their best interest. And just as Judge Woodburn has done, I won't tolerate parents weaponizing their children against each other or against the other parent. And I won't tolerate a parent wrongfully withholding the child from the other parent. Second of all, overcrowding. I had a plea yesterday in the county court, and I got to talking to the prosecutor, and part of the plea agreement on the case that I was handling, there was a mandatory 5-day jail sentence, part of the probation. And when I talked to the prosecutor, he said, did you see where we're waiving the 5 days? And I said, well, my goodness, thank you for doing that. I didn't know you could waive it. And he said, as of today, Potter County Jail is at 100% capacity. And I've got a plan to help with that. First of all, and I kept talking to the prosecutor, there's several reasons for that. But I think that we need to have 1, 2, 3, I don't care how many trial weeks that we have for just the people that are at the Potter County Detention Center. Second of all, we've got to continue to develop the mental health courts and the veterans courts and not keep those people housed at Potter County. The other thing that I wasn't aware of this, but apparently we've got to get with TDCJ to get them to pick up their prisoners in a timely fashion. I understand that's been a problem in Potter County. I think somebody needs to get a hold of them, talk to them about coming and picking up the prisoners in a timely fashion. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. All right, we are going to move on. Jamar Wilson. Jamar has been an attorney practicing criminal and family law, living in Amarillo for the last 35 years. He is one of only 14 lawyers in Texas who is board certified in both criminal and family law.
Thank you. I have been practicing here since 1988 and opened my own practice in 1990. And since that time, I've represented over 6,500 distinct individuals, each one a client, each one a person, and we've represented them in family law, such as adoptions, divorces, child custody cases. We've represented them in criminal law. Get in trouble with something as simple as a misdemeanor or felony or even a capital murder case. I've represented several capital murder defendants. I think I'm the only one of these candidates that has actually tried a death penalty case to a verdict, and I've tried 5 of them. I bring something unique to the table, and I think that was in my introduction here, in that I am one of only 14 lawyers in the state of Texas, is board certified in both of these areas. And I have been since 1995. It was about the second year that I was eligible to apply for that certification, and I applied for both of them and got that. And what that brings to the field is a demonstrated expertise in those two subjects of the law, which make up probably 95% or more of the cases that will come before the judge of the 108th District Court. I've also been endorsed by over 65 local and area attorneys, 15 current and former prosecutors, and 20 current and former law enforcement officials, and I've been endorsed by the Potter County Law Enforcement Association, which is Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 57. I think I'm also the only candidate in this race that is endorsed by a former state chair of the Texas Republican Party. I have stood next to the mother who made some mistakes and is in fear of losing her child. I've stood next to the father who felt he could do better than the mother in raising his child. And it was the most important days of their lives. I've stood next to the teenager who was possibly going to lose his life because he committed a horrible crime. It's hard for me to imagine how someone could be the judge of a trial court, such as the 108, that hears these cases and not have experienced and represented and helped those people for a long time and in a substantial manner. Each one of those persons, they're not just a figure on a docket sheet, they're not just a number, a cause number, they're a person. And that experience that I bring to the table will help me in deciding which of those people do you need to treat tougher, which one do you need to maybe give a little bit of a break. What's the best thing to do with this child and their family? What's the best thing to do with this person who doesn't seem to think they have to comply with the laws of our state? I believe that I bring the most experience of all these candidates to that question. Thank you. Appreciate your vote on March 5th.
We're gonna start with the audience questions right now. We'll just start with 10 and then work our way down. The first question is, please explain what type of cases you expect to hear and what about your experience makes you the most qualified.
First of all, the 108th District Court deals primarily with criminal cases, divorce cases, and custody cases. I've been practicing law full-time, like I said, for 33 years, and I've handled thousands of cases. Joan was a little bit in there. I have also tried everything from a capital murder case with a death sentence to traffic tickets. I've represented thousands of people in divorce and custody cases.
Jamar, same question. You need to repeat it again?
Sure.
Okay. Please explain what type of cases you expect to hear and what about your experience makes you the most qualified.
Well, I think Tim correctly lined out what cases. It's mostly family and criminal. There is some civil cases that are heard every once in a while, not often. As I stated in my opening a minute ago, I believe my board certifications give you an objective measurement of the expertise I bring, the number of people that I've helped and I've represented over the years shows you the practical effect of my abilities and what I can do in that area of the law. And I think that if you've played the game long enough, if you've done well in the game and you're good at playing the game, and in this case playing the game means being a lawyer and helping those people, that it puts you in a much better position when you're put on the bench and you're in fact a referee at that point. And so I believe that all that expertise and that practical experience makes me the best candidate.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Silverman.
The 108th District Court is a court of general jurisdiction, and while primarily the docket consists of criminal cases, it also consists of civil cases, which include family cases, as well as general civil litigation, title disputes, and tax cases, and that I have worked in every one of those fields in my practice. I believe that I bring a different perspective as a judicial candidate in the sense that I've had a very small private practice by choice most of my career. And as a small firm practitioner, I don't represent particularly wealthy folks. I do have folks who are relatively comfortable, but most of them are just regular working folks for whom spending a lot of money on legal fees was never in the household budget. And so I've had to come up with some pretty creative solutions. And so I understand what litigants or defendants or plaintiffs or anybody who's before the court is trying to do as quickly as possible, and I respect that. And I think that's what I bring.
Thank you. All right, yes, ma'am. Pamela, go ahead.
Thank you. You've already heard from these people. It's a general jurisdiction court. It's the exact same court that I had for 4 years when I was in the 320th District Court. I'm the only candidate up here that has divided the baby, set the child support, sentenced people to death, and tried cases and sent people to jail for 60 and 80 years. It's a learning experience to practice law. Some of these guys have gone to continuing education to learn to be better family lawyers, better criminal lawyers. I've been to 24 years of classes and training on how to be a better judge, how to run a court efficiently, how to staff that moves cases. Yes, every one of these people are unique. And it's that thing where you learn to close your mouth, open your ears, and really listen to the people. The people that have appeared in my court have been satisfied. Many times I've heard that they felt like they were heard, even when they didn't win their cases, because I gave them the time to really develop their cases and spend the time in court, call the witnesses they needed to call. And that's what I offer back to the citizens, is I can go to work the first day I'm there and move this court along like it needs to be done. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, thank you guys. We have our last audience question. It's a good one. And we will start with, you already got it, Jamar. We're going to start with you. Okay. All right. How do you propose to work with the district attorney's office to move criminal cases in the 108?
The first place you started, I think, is you have to evaluate what your relationship going into the job is with the people you would be dealing with. First of all, obviously the head of that, Mr. Herring, but probably as important, more importantly, the people that work under him. And that's exactly what I've been doing for 35 years in practicing criminal law. Now, obviously, the personnel changed. It's not any of the same people there, probably, that were there when I started. But I've always prided myself that even though I represent people in an adversary fashion with other counsel, in this case the state, that I'm able to deal with them in a professional manner, in a collegial manner. And one thing I pride myself on in dealing with prosecutors as well as other lawyers is that if I tell them something, they know it's true. I'm not willing to tell them something that is not true to try to get my client a different deal. And so I think that credibility, which I'm no big on, is usually credibility. The people know where you're at. They know your weaknesses. They know your strengths. That credibility I have with them, that I can go to them and say, this will help. I can't force them to try cases. I mean, we can call cases and make them show up, but I can dismiss them and refile them if they want to. So we've got to get everybody on the same page so that they want to do the same thing, which is move the cases as efficiently as possible with the most just result possible.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to Tim Burrell. Same question. You may repeat it.
Please.
Okay. How do you propose to work with the district attorney's office to move criminal cases in the 108?
Here's how to do it, and Mr. Herring, who is in the audience, he's our Potter County District Attorney, and he's a great one. And I've known him for a long time. We've tried cases against each other. He was at the county attorney's office. He may duck his head when I'm about to say this, but my plan would be go talk to Jason and say, look, here's what I think we need to do. I mentioned it with the jail overcrowding. is let's just set it up. I'll work as often and as hard as I can. Let's clear that jail up. Let's get these jail cases moved. I anticipate setting jail dockets. If it's three weeks a month, and bring in 10 to 20 every Monday, try, plead, dismiss, whatever we're going to do. And if Mr. Herring has got the attorneys to handle that down the docket, then that's what I would propose we do.
Thank you. All right, Sam Brown Silverman, you to repeat it?
You go ahead.
Okay. How do you propose to work with the district attorney's office to move criminal cases in the 108?
Moving cases through a court system requires three distinct parties, which is the prosecutor's office, the DA's office, the defense attorneys, as well as the court itself. Each entity has its own schedule. The first thing we have to remember is that when you have a defendant who's sitting out in jail or out on bond, there is a presumption that they are innocent until the proceeding is over. So we have a lot of innocent people, presumptively innocent people, sitting out in the jail. And justice requires that cases be moved as efficiently as possible. So when the DA's office announces that a case is ready, then one way to move the case quickly is to just set it. The other is if you have a bunch of state jail felony cases, and the state jail felonies are sort of set up that are supposed to be ideal for putting folks on probation or quick disposition so they're not sitting in the jail, costing the taxpayers of Potter County $150 a day or so.
Thank you so much. We do have to move our criminal cases. We got behind with COVID. Jason Herring, I'm excited to have him back as the head of the DA's office. I laugh because I teased Jason. He came out of law school and went to work in my court a million years ago, I think. And so I always tease him. If he's doing a good job, it's because I taught him. If he's not, he learned nothing. But Jason, we're excited to have you because you got a full staff. Being there, I was there 4 years, and I had 12 prosecutors in 48 months. You cannot move cases if you don't have a solid prosecution office. When I left, there were 7 lawyers short, a couple of secretaries, and an investigator. Jason has repopulated that office. You have to have 3 things. You have to have a prosecutor, you have to have a judge, and you have to have a defense attorney. And oh yeah, you got to have a defendant that will show up. So Jason's got the prosecution rocking along. We need more defense attorneys in Amarillo. We are aging out. We're the old guys up here, and we don't have young people moving into Amarillo. If you could explain that to me, that they get out of law school and they go to Dallas and Austin and Houston. So we have to have more defense attorneys. We've created the public defender's office that we're funding in Potter County. We need an attorney for the state, an attorney for the defendant, and to move our cases forward. And I think it's creativity. It's not the way we've always done it. How can we move it? But we can't set a case every Monday morning. The same lawyer for the state cannot try 48 cases at the felony level in a month. You cannot get ready for those many cases. So we've got to figure out something more creative, another way to move our cases. And I think working with the DA's office and the defense bar, maybe we can make that happen. But I think it's creative planning. And that's where we have a new opening, we have a mental health court, we have the veterans court. I think we need to, Natalie White, who runs our probation department, she'd love to have 60 new probationers that pay her $60 a month to be on probation, instead of us paying $72 a day for people to sit in our county jail. So maybe we can move that along. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the record, Pam isn't a day over 40, so I don't know what she's talking about. All right, that is it for our 108 candidates. They're going to be out and about. You guys ask them questions, grill them. Make sure that they're going to be the elected official that you want to vote for. Thank you, guys. Thomas.
Thank you, Jake. We're not going to be doing questions for the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals candidates. They're going to be having 3 minutes to introduce themselves. So can we have the candidates or the representatives for presiding judge of the Court of Criminal Appeals make their way up? I think we have somebody for pretty much every race, so how are you? All right, I'll let you take it away since I think you're our only candidate for presiding judge. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here.
You're off. Here. I'll let you have this one.
Thank you.
Oh, there we go.
It's a pleasure to be here in West Texas. God bless you all. My name is David Skank, or Shank. We've been debating that with our family members here tonight. I am a real judge. I have 8 years of service as a justice on the biggest appellate court in the state. I serve you as Deputy Attorney General for Legal Counsel. That's the lead lawyer to the Attorney General. And I am a father. I'm a Christian. I'm a husband. And I'm proud of all those things. I want to tell you a little bit about the court and why it's important. A lot of people don't know in Texas we have 2 Supreme Courts. We have one for civil, we have one for criminal. This criminal Supreme Court right now is populated with 8 judges who are coming to work sometimes, and one who's working very hard. There is a challenge that we face in this country, I'll tell you that. Things are changing. When I served on that Dallas court, the last 2 years I was there, I saw 0 murder cases. It wasn't that we didn't have murders. What it was is murder is a violation through probation terms. So what was happening is all the murderers were being revoked on probation. They weren't trying murder cases. We've got 2 states here, really. We've got a rural state and we've got an urban state. And I spent 3 years on this Texas State Commission on Judicial Conduct. I chaired that commission. I was responsible for all the behavior of all the judges in the state. And I can tell you, we have one profound obligation. That is to be fair and to be perceived as fair. The courts don't have an army. We don't have a budget. The only thing we have is the public perception that our judgment can be trusted, that we are providing the rule of law and nothing but that. There's not an invisible hand on the other side of the aisle, and that is a real serious challenge right now. The court, as I mentioned to you, is struggling. My opponent, I commend her for her many, many years of service, but she cannot run for and serve the next term on the ballot. She has also encountered a number of ethical challenges. I'll be clear, I have never been sanctioned for misconduct. I have never been fined by the Ethics Commission. I have never had impeachment proceedings initiated against me. I come to work. I also serve, I'll point out to you, as a law clerk to the Chief Judge of the Federal Fifth Circuit. That's the court that sits over the whole state, and 2 others. I saw how a court is supposed to be run. The judges on those courts are running 150 opinions a year, and they're doing it in about 9 months from the beginning to the end. This Court of Criminal Appeals, on average, with that one judge I'm accepting, 29 opinions a year. It's taken a year and a half to write them. 2 weeks ago, they put out 5 opinions. That's a lot for them. 3 out of the 5 were from 2019 or 2020. The 1 from 2019, that's your time. That's my time, okay. I'm David Shank. I'll be here. God bless you all. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so the candidates or the representatives for place 7 on the Court of Criminal Appeals, please make their way to the stage. And I think our only candidate is Gina Parker, so I'll let you take it away, and you have 3 minutes also.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I want to thank you for coming out and taking the time to listen to us. I'm Gina Parker, and I'm running for the highest criminal court in Texas, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. There are 2 high courts in Texas. We have the Texas Supreme Court, that is the court of final resort for all civil cases. And then we have the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, which is the court of final resort for all criminal cases. And that's the court that I'm running for. I'm traveling statewide, And this is a statewide race, so everyone here in this room can vote for these races. I'm from Waco, Texas. I graduated from Baylor University. I've been practicing law. Yay, go Bears, right? I've been practicing law for over 30 years. I've been a prosecutor. I served as an assistant county attorney, as an assistant district attorney, and also as a city attorney. I've also been practicing as a criminal defense lawyer for quite a number of years now as well. In addition to that, I was appointed to serve as a commissioner and to chair the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. That agency at the time regulated over 21 different industries, and we also sat in a quasi-judicial capacity where we heard cases that were appealed, and there were administrative law cases that would come before us, and we would make decisions on those cases. And I heard well over 1,000 cases during my time of service on that commission. In addition to my legal career, I've been very involved politically as a grassroots activist. My mother was the chairman of the party, and so she volunteered me at a very young age to get involved. And so I also served at the state party level as the Republican Party of Texas treasurer, and also as a Republican Party of Texas Associate General Counsel. But the most important thing I want you to remember about me tonight is that I'm the constitutional conservative in this race. And I was given the Texas Eagle Award for my work and support and dedication to the United States Constitution. I served as Phyllis Schlafly's, the National Eagle Forum's National Judicial Reform Chairperson. Some of y'all know Phyllis. She's been my mentor. In addition to that, Phyllis wrote a book called The Supremacists, The Tyranny of Judges, and How to Stop It. And I had the pleasure to work with her on a study guide for that book. And so that's some of my background. In addition to that, I'm also an author. I've written 2 books, The 828 Journey, and another book called Hush Little Baby, Don't Say a Word. And for a lawyer, that is a hard task. And so basically that book just talks about moving from being a fixer to being a truster in God. And so I have this long journey of politics, ministry, and law. And I believe I'm the best candidate for this race. And I am experienced, I am conservative, and I am the constitutional conservative in this race. And I'm asking for your vote on March the 5th. Thank you.
And finally, place 8 on the Court of Criminal Appeals. Do we have any candidates or representatives for that? We do. All right, come on up. Thank you. All right, so Lee Finley is our candidate for place 8, and I will pass it on to him.
I don't need that microphone. I'll blow your ears out. Ladies and gentlemen, first I want to thank the Amarillo Pioneer for hosting this. I want to thank you for investing your time to be here. My name is Lee Finley. I'm running for place 8 on the Court of Criminal Appeals in the March 5th Republican primary. I am a U.S. Marine Corps veteran with more than 20 years. Hoorah! Ooh, ooh. I am a U.S. Marine Corps veteran with more than 20 years experience practicing criminal law. I am endorsed by Attorney General Ken Paxton, by Texans for Responsible Judges, many others. I am a true, lifelong conservative Republican. I believe now what I believed 10 years ago, what I believed 20 years ago. I am a jarhead ground pounder. What you see is what you get. Outstanding, sir. I am strongly pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, pro-individual rights, and anti-big government. Ronald Reagan said, if you don't control your government will control you. And that is more true today than it was when he said it. Our Court of Criminal Appeals has lost touch with you, the voter. They have taken away the ability of the Texas Attorney General to prosecute violations of Texas election law. And we see the results in Harris County, in liberal Democratic counties all across this state, where the fundamental power of the people, one person, one vote, is being undermined by radical, left-wing, liberal ideological groups who are bringing in, just like George Soros, millions of dollars. Soros spent millions of dollars to fund a candidate hard left for the Harris County District Attorney. She won. And now we have rampant election fraud in Harris County. Not allegations of election fraud, rampant. There was a poll activist for Sheila Jackson Lee who was caught red-handed harvesting absentee ballots for dead people. Caught on tape admitting it. But that was not prosecuted, and it will not be prosecuted. And unless we restore the ability of the Attorney General of Texas to prosecute egregious violations of Texas election law, it is not an exaggeration to say that everything we believe in, everything we've fought for, everything that you and I hold dear, our fundamental conservative Republican values, are at risk. This state and this nation are at a crossroads. On March 5th, you will decide who will choose your leaders and your laws. Will you do it with the power of your vote? Absolutely. Or will hard-left ideological political organization engage in rampant election fraud and undermine everything we believe in? I am asking for your support. I am asking for your vote on March 5th for place 8 on the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. This is our time, not tomorrow, not a year from now. Right now, I need your support, and together, we can fix it. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support.
Hoorah! All right, thank you. We're going to move on to Randall County Sheriff, so if those candidates will make their way up here, we'll love that. I also want to remind everybody we have note cards out there, so if you have a question for the sheriff candidates or for the state rep candidates, please get those written down and get them to one of the people taking the questions, and we'll make sure they get asked. I'll probably move the microphone. Maybe.
Hello. This thing keeps turning itself on.
Okay. All right, hey folks, Ben Walker again. We're going to go into the Sheriff Randle County race, and I'm going to ask each of our candidates tonight to take a minute and introduce yourself to the crowd.
Hello, I'm Chris Forbes. I'm your Randle County Sheriff. I am a lifetime resident of Randle County. Worked for the Randle County Sheriff's Office for 31 years, last 3 years as sheriff. Since I took over, we've started many initiatives. Some that I'm proud of are the school safety initiatives. We have our deputies in every school. We have deputies at every lockdown drill. The second thing I'm proud of is working with the Commissioner's Court to expand our jail, where we have capacity, where we can make sure that we have the people off the streets that need to be off the streets. And the third thing that I'm really proud of and want to continue is our jail ministry program that we had to rebuild after COVID. I currently have 26 churches involved in my jail ministry program and 105 volunteers. Last quarter, we baptized 62 people. These things are the kind of initiatives that with your help and with your vote on March 5th, we can continue in Randle County. Thank you very much.
Chris, my name is Roger Short. I'm running for Randle County Sheriff, and I have 38 plus years in law enforcement, over 24 years of that in a supervisory capacity. I served 13 years on the Canyon ISD School Board, and have a master's degree from WT, great college, if anybody's been there. But I'm running because people were asking me for help. They said, you're needed. We need you back out here. Things are not going the direction they need to go. The focus has changed. Well, when I was at Randle County, we brought in all kinds of training. We did Just Say No, a lot of drug education for the kids. And we did Neighborhood Watch. We did Business Watch. Had a farm and ranch anti-theft program. We brought in the Sober program, which we targeted underage drinking. And we went out on the streets to keep our kids and our streets safe. And I remember the headlines in the Amarillo paper when we hit 1,000 cases out here in Amarillo and Randle County, and how many of those lives did we save? Well, all those programs are gone. We don't do them anymore. They're not there. And we're missing the point by not taking care of the people. I'm like every other parent out there. I think the sheriff's office belongs to the people. It belongs to you. And if we're not providing the programs to keep our families and kids safe on the street, we're making a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got to turn that back around. We've got to put respect back in that office. We've got to have respect, and you get it both ways with the public if you do that. And so that's a lot of my purpose. I want to take care of those people. I had a lady that her husband worked there, and she messaged me, or used to work there. She messaged me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and gentlemen, just keep the mic each time, and I'll just go back and forth. Roger, let's start with you here on these specific questions. By the way, we've got a lot of great questions from the audience. We appreciate that. You get elected, what's the number one thing you're going to start with on day one when you get elected sheriff?
Day one, I'm going to look at every department that we've got going. But the first thing I'm going to do is start looking to build a well-trained crime prevention unit so we can get back into the schools. We can visit with people. And the program for the schools is great. But that's only 40 hours a week, ladies and gentlemen. What do we do with the other 128 hours during the week? What do we do with the weekends and the summers when the kids are not in school? They don't only need to be protected in school, they need to be protected all the time. And that means we get out and we educate them and we give them drug education prevention. We give people neighborhood watch again so they can get to know who their neighbors are. We do business watch so we can protect businesses out here in the county. We can reduce crime if we bring crime prevention back to Randle County. And I think that's one of the most important things that we can possibly do. I had a young man in my house demonstrating medical equipment to my wife, and his name was Kevin. And I said, "Where'd you go to school?" He said, "Randle High." I said, "What about grade school?" He said, "Lakeview." And I said, "Were you in the DARE program?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I was. I was DARE Student of the Year." And he said, "I was at Randle High 2 weeks, and I was offered drugs. And if it hadn't been for your program that you had out there at Lakeview, I would not have known what to do." And I turned him down. And he said, "My parents never talked to me about drugs." These kids and these families, they need what we can give them. And we have to open it back up to the people. It has to be the people's sheriff's office, not the sheriff's office. It has to be the people's. And that's what I'm going to be, is your voice and your sheriff. And we're going to turn this county back around and do the programs that will keep our families safe.
Okay, thank you, Roger. Just to give you guys an idea, that was 2 minutes. Need to keep you guys to about a minute. Okay.
Beat that near something there.
Well, I will.
Yeah.
That's why they always bring me in like this, because they know I will. Chris, you're in office now, but you get reelected. What is your number one priority on that?
So, to continue what we're doing, we are combating the fentanyl epidemic that has hit our community because of broken border policies. And we're hitting it hard, and we're running search warrants, and we're taking care of those things. To speak to some of the things that my competitor here has said, the schools have drug education programs, and they do a great job at educating our children. My philosophy has to do with building partnerships and not necessarily having programs. There may not be a program listed on my website, but we're partnering with a nonprofit organization in the community to do these things. I was at a meeting today with Chief Bergenfeld, the 2 DAs, and probation, and David Elizalde with the Andreas Project, which targets DWIs and underage drinking. And that collaborative group was working to move Andreas Project, who does great work in our community, to the next level. Those are the kind of things, the partnerships, to partner with organizations in the community, because it will just strengthen our community.
And Chris, that's a good intro to the very next question. Actually, you're talking about relationships. How would you continue to build the relationships with other law enforcement agencies and other important district attorney offices and those types of groups as you go forward?
Thank you. I have great relationships with all the law enforcement agencies. In fact, in April, we have scheduled a training for active shooter response where we're going to bring in all the local law enforcement agencies from the 2 counties, the fire departments, the EMS, and we're doing the collaborative training so that we make sure that all of our first responders are on the same page whenever it comes to active shooter response. I am good friends with Chief Birkenfeld, Chief Brush and Canyon, Sheriff Thomas in Potter County, all the state agencies that are here, so I already have those relationships. I go and sit down in their offices on a weekly basis and talk about any issues that we have between our agencies to foster and grow those relationships.
Thank you. Roger, same question. Should you become sheriff, what steps would you take and what plans do you have to increase that cooperation relationship amongst all the important agencies you need to deal with?
For 38 years that I worked in law enforcement, we always had great relationships with other agencies. That wasn't ever a big issue. It's just a matter of courtesy. And you have to have that courtesy, and you have to treat others with courtesy if you're going to foster those relationships. And that's something that's pretty simple to do. I went to visit with TxDOT the other day, Louisa Matthews, and she does a lot of safety programs. And she was excited to hear that I was running for sheriff, and she said, I want you to partner up with us again. And I said, I will definitely do that. I spent time with David Elizalde the other day, and I know about Henry's project and how he lost his daughter to a beat-up guy accident. He was thrilled to death when he heard that I'm going to bring the sober program back to target underage drinking and people that sell alcohol to minors on our streets. So, yeah, those partnerships can be made. All it takes is courtesy and talk, and that's all it is. And I'm going to bring that back also.
Roger, go ahead and keep that mic. Could you give us your thoughts about working out issues in the dispute that comes up from time to time between the City of Amarillo and Randall County Jail regarding space and availability for inmates?
Be happy to give you my thoughts on it.
I think that's what everybody's here for.
Everybody in Randall County, City of Amarillo or not, paid tax dollars to build that jail. Everybody in the City of Amarillo, they're Randall County residents. They paid money to pay for the jail officers and the staff out there. They're already paying rent for Randall County jail use. And we're talking about Class C misdemeanors. And I can see charging the City of Amarillo for public intoxication that comes from Potter County, but I look at it this way. I'm a Randall County deputy. I go to a call in Amarillo city limits, and I've got an Amarillo police officer with me, and we both arrest a public intoxication in Amarillo. We go to the jail. I book my prisoner, doesn't cost anything. The APD officer books his, $350 or whatever the first day is. I think the taxpayers of Amarillo are getting gouged. I think there's a better way to do that. As sheriff, I'm not going to turn down a prisoner. That same guy, that same drunk, could go out in the county and kill somebody outside the city limits. I'm going to take prisoners. But I don't think we should the Amarillo people should be double dipped on taxes. And that's my opinion of it, because they're already paying taxes for the sheriff's office and jail. Why do we charge them extra?
So the majority of the Class C misdemeanors that we get do come from Potter County. And they are booked into our facility, and the prisoners that we get on these, the officers are trying to solve problems. And most of these people are either mentally ill or they're out substance abuse, so they take a lot more processing. We provide facilities, and we provide arraignment services, and we provide a lot of things behind the scenes that we don't necessarily have to provide to interact with the City of Amarillo so they can collect their fees through their municipal courts. So there are other fees that go into this. We would never turn away a prisoner at the Randle County Sheriff's Office if an officer or a deputy comes and brings a prisoner there that needs to be in jail. I can't speak to the particulars of the negotiations. That's between the City Council and the County Commission. But as far as things go, we have had a great relationship with the City of Amarillo, the City Police Department to house their prisoners, and we would continue that. Thank you.
Chris, go ahead and keep the mic. What plans do you have going forward to face the continual shortfall that you have to face on a fiscal basis, given this rapid growth that Randle County just seems to just keep going with?
So the one saving grace of that is the expanding tax base, of course. With the expansion, there is an increase in tax base, which helps us to defer that. But we also are very, very frugal with the money that you taxpayers afford us. Randle County tax rate has gone down from 44 cents a hundred value to 40 cents a hundred value in the past 2 years. So we are very cognizant that we would work smarter and we would work harder to make sure that those services, those professional services that you expect and that you've been getting, continue. That means that with the expansion of our county and how fast it's growing, we will have to plan and make sure that we are putting on staff that we need to, but not too much staff that it becomes where it's wasteful. And we do that every year whenever we go through the budgetary process to make sure that we can provide those services, but that we do it in a cost-effective manner.
Thank you. Roger, same question. How are you going to stay on top of and try to avoid budget shortfalls, given the constant expansion of Randle County?
13 years on the school board, I dealt with multi-million-dollar budgets. And at the sheriff's office, particularly when I left and went up to Potter County to help Brian Thomas clean up the shoemake fiasco, I did the budget in Potter County for 4 years. I know how to do budgets. I know how to save money for the taxpayers. And one of the things that's really important with budget, with dollars, we have jail officers that we can't keep. They quit. They leave because they're unhappy, they're unsatisfied, their pay is low. If you pay to hire someone, you pay to train someone, and then they leave, that's taxpayer money that's wasted. I don't want that money wasted, and I don't think you do either. What we have to do, and jail officers historically have been the lowest paid at the sheriff's office as far as disparity between them and patrol deputies. A lot of people just want to work the jail, but they face the same problems. They can get assaulted, they can have bodily fluids thrown on them. There's a lot of danger in working in jail. You're in there with the most dangerous people around. We have to do something to figure out how we can raise their salaries so they don't leave. And if we do that, it's going to save tax dollars. Plus, we're going to have a better working agency with saving money without having to lose officers because they're dissatisfied and leave. Because I want to keep them. They have to feel needed, respected, and valued. And if you can't take care of them, that's not going to happen, and they're going to quit.
Thank you, Roger. And good announcement. We're back on track on time. And you've got 1 minute, Roger. Would you tell the folks anything you want to close with?
Are you going to beat me here in a second?
No.
Okay. I believe the sheriff's office belongs to the people, first and foremost. I believe courtesy and common courtesy and respect are the main things I'm going to focus on with every officer dealing with the people in the county. I want to bring those programs back that they can take home with them so they can educate themselves on how to better protect their property. We're the last ones. We always respond last. After the crime is committed, we need to give the people the tools ahead of time to know what to do to help prevent crime in their neighborhoods, in their homes, and keep their kids safe and make Randle County a safer place to raise all our families. Because it's not about me, it's about us. It's about we. And we have to do it together. And that's why I say, your voice, your sheriff. And that's what I'm going to be. And that's my promise. And I appreciate your vote on March 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Chris, your closing remarks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank y'all for being here. I asked for your vote on March 5th because I know what we're doing at the sheriff's office, and I know that we're doing great things. Other people that know that we're doing great things at the Randle County Sheriff's Office happen to have endorsed me. Randle County retired Sheriff Joe W. Richardson, retired Sheriff Harold Hooks, Criminal District Attorney Robert Love, Mayor Cole Stanley, the Randle County Law Enforcement Association, the Amarillo Police Officers Association, Potter County Deputy Sheriff's Association, FOP Lodge 57, the Combined Law Enforcement Association of Texas. There's a lot of people that know what we're doing at the office. There are things that have been said here that it may not, you may not grasp the full truth about what is happening at the Randle County Sheriff's Office. We are full at our jail staff right now. So there are certain things that if you'll talk to me after the meeting, or my door is always open to anybody who wants to come in and talk. All you have to do is give me a call. We'll set up a time. We can meet at my office. We can meet at your house. We can meet and have coffee. And we can discuss anything that's been discussed here further on. Thank you and God bless.
Folks, Chris and Marshall Short are the candidates for Randall County Sheriff.
Thank you.
And folks, if we could have the 86th district candidates come up, please. Okay, folks, we've got with us now the candidates for the 86th district race, Mr. John Smithy and Jamie Haynes. Thanks you both for being here tonight. We're going to start with a minute introduction, and Ms. Haynes, we're going to go first.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for holding this forum this evening. I'm happy to be here. My name is Jamie Haynes. I'm running for the Texas House, District 86, Conservative Republican. I was brought up in Central Texas, the real geographic heart of Texas, Brady, Texas, in McCullough County. Father's a rancher, mom's a pharmacist. Went to college at Texas Tech University, where I met the love of my life, J.T. Haynes. Majored in management information systems. Moved back to Amarillo and got a job, was working, decided to pursue my MBA at West Texas A&M University right there in Canyon, and got a degree from them, really proud of that. Worked in the computer field for many years, over a decade, as a programmer, as an application developer, moved over and transitioned into a business at a photography studio for 2+ years. Enjoyed running my own small business. Got to understand the ins and outs of all that entails, including cleaning, to running the webpage, to paying your employees, and balancing your budget. About that time, my husband had started a real estate brokerage on the side, and it took off, so we decided to sell my studio. We successfully marketed it and sold it, and I joined him, and then we ran that business for it's about 15 years now. It's very successful. Actually, our brokerage is the #1 team in town right now, so we're very proud of that. At some point in there, what I like to say, ran into the government, if you will. I engaged heavily and saw that it was broken. I took it upstream to the state level. I got really involved in the Republican Party of Texas, joined state coalitions, and this last session was really involved and just saw what was happening in the Texas House, and I was distraught. That is what brought me to this stage today, and I am really looking forward to trying to make Texas a much better place to live, something amazing for our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good evening. I'm John Smithy. I've been privileged to be state representative representing the 86th district since 1985. I want to recognize my wife, Becky, who's my wife of 44 years, and we have all 3 of our children here this evening, and I'm proud to have them here with us. Our grandkids aren't here. If they were, you'd know it, believe me. So, anyway, serving in the legislature and serving the people of this area has been a labor of love for Becky and I both, because we both grew up here in Amarillo. We've lived here all our lives. We chose to raise our children here, and we've chosen to make our family, to raise our family, have our children raise our family right here in the Panhandle. We think this is the best place to live, it's the best place to work, it's the best place to be. We always enjoy going to Austin for a legislative session, but we can't wait to get back to Amarillo, get back to the Panhandle. One of the things that we've discovered in Austin is that we're a long way from Austin. We're 500 miles from the state capital. We're closer to parts of the Panhandle, at least parts of my district, are closer to 5 state capitals than they are to Austin. And we don't have the population numbers up here, so we only have 2.5 representatives to represent the Panhandle. We have the we have the Western Panhandle, which includes the district I represent. We have the Central, and then Ken King represents a portion of the Eastern Panhandle. I talked to Ken this morning, and I told him I've been referring to him as half a legislator, because he goes down to the Permian Basin. So everything we get in the Panhandle, we have to fight for. I mean, we really do. Nobody gives us anything. And I'm very proud of what our delegation has been able to do over the last few years. We've secured, it's a team effort, believe me. You can't do anything by yourself. But we secured the new tech vet school. And the ag complex at WT, the new mental hospital here in the Panhandle. So many good things for this area. And I appreciate the time here. I appreciate you all being here tonight.
John, just go ahead and keep in mind, we'll start with you on the questions. I don't think there's going to be any surprises on most of these, but what steps should be further taken down in the legislature to deliver property tax relief to Texas?
Well, there's a couple of things about property tax. One, that a lot of people don't realize is the state doesn't assess or collect any property tax. Under the Constitution, we don't. All property tax is collected by local government entities, school districts, cities, counties, water districts, different types of districts. So we don't impose any property taxes. We do authorize, the legislature authorizes these governmental entities to assess and collect these taxes. So the way we did this last session is about the only way we can reduce property taxes without revamping the system entirely. And so what we did is we had a big budget surplus this time. One of our largest expenditures of our budget was giving money back to the taxpayers in 2 ways. One was raising the homestead exemption. Most of you know now we raise the exemption up to $100,000 for your homestead. Most everybody's homestead taxes for their home in our district went down this year, and that's a good thing. We also compressed the rate, and what that means is we basically reduced the rate. And so we gave some real property tax. Well, it was about $12 billion plus the $6 billion we did last time of property tax relief. So that helps some, but it doesn't cure the overall problem of rising appraisals that constantly increase and rising rates. And so we need to continue to look at ways to try to deal with property taxes because it's one of the hardest taxes that hits Texas families. We don't want to make home ownership a thing of the past.
John, that's my time.
Thanks.
Jamie, I need to start with everyone. We really need to try to keep these answers a little short, okay? Got to stay on time. The burger cake's out there. I should have done that. Jamie, what are your thoughts on what the legislature might be able to do to get some more relief for Texas with their property taxes?
So there is another option, and a lot of the conservatives advocate for this option. So what we've done is we have debt. We have created debt, and we have to pay that down. And we did, as he said, have a large surplus in the budget this session. But instead of being fiscally responsible and taking that money to pay down that debt and work on a long-term plan to get rid of it, we're giving it back to people in small chunks. Now, I know that sounds great short-term, but long-term, as property values continue to increase, it's going to hurt people that are on fixed budgets that can't pay these ever-increasing numbers as time continues. And as we know, as realtors, their property values are probably not going to go down. They're going to continue to rise. And so the more fiscally responsible option would have been to pay down our debt. And so lots of different people have plans for that. It would be something where we would have to be committed to it and not just committed for one session over a period of time. But it's something that as conservatives we just need to look at and work towards.
Thank you. Go ahead, Keith. We've got an invasion going on down at the south border. What are your thoughts in terms of the legislature and what it might be able to do, and what would you bring to the table with ideas to help with that problem?
Yeah, so a couple of things there. I still only have 1 minute, right? So this session we had...
These are the easy questions, so we thought we'd just give the 1 minute.
The border's easy, okay. So this session, as you guys know, well, or you might not know, I talked about this last forum, but we had a bill called, it was a Border Protection Unit, BPU. And so it was actually our speaker's priority bill, and he essentially killed it, allowed it to be killed by a point of order on the House floor. And so, again, this goes back to why I am here, because I saw that the Texas House is broken. I saw that it's not being run by ours. They're ours in name, but it's being run by the other side, and they're killing conservative legislation. And that Border Protection Unit would have helped us dramatically. It would have given us a whole new unit specific to Texas to defend our borders. And again, not just down between Mexico, that's a huge problem, but we have drugs flowing in from the other sides too. But again, it died because of what's happening in the Texas House. And we have to change some of these seats out. We have to get a true, strong conservative legislation and don't have folks that are voting on the other
side. Well, we've tried about everything we can try, but what has happened in the last month, and you've heard about it, is razor wire, concertina razor wire. We appropriated $1.5 billion in one of our special sessions to build new border wall for the state border wall, not federal. But what we figured out is that we can run over 50 miles of concertina border razor wire for what we can do 1 mile of border wall. And we're putting it up as we speak right now. And I just heard today, we got the numbers back. A month ago at the Del Rio sector, they were getting 4,000 people crossing a day. This week, they had averaged 20 a day. It's gone down from 4,000 to 20 in a period of a month. And you can thank your governor for that, because he has been putting it up. The federal government has been cutting the wire, but we're putting it up a lot faster than they can cut it. And we're going to keep putting it up. And the more they cut it, the more we're going to put up. We've got the money to put it up. And so that's what we're going to do. That's what we're doing. We finally found a solution here. And the governor took over Shelby Park, and where they were using, the cartels were using it as a staging area. It is shut down Shelby Park. Nothing's happened there. And this month, Texas has become the third. The figures that are in so far this month, we've gone to number 3 in the number of illegal crossings. Arizona, California, and now Texas. And that's real progress. We're really proud of that.
Thank you, John. We'll start moving into some of the audience questions. Something on everybody's mind that's got anybody going through higher education, trying to get a college degree or pay for it themselves, is the cost. The costs just seem to be going out of control. John, what can the legislature do going forward to address these continuing rising costs in public higher education?
Well, this is a matter of real concern, because we basically fund higher education in Texas. And over the years, the Republicans have controlled the legislature. We've had Republican governors who have appointed the boards of regents at these universities. We've seen a real problem in terms of not only the cost rising and rising, the students go into more and more debt, but we've also seen what is being taught. These institutions have been turned from institutions of education into institutions of indoctrination. And here's what I would use for a model. I would use what West Texas A&M is doing right now under Dr. Windrow's leadership at the Hill Institute, funded largely by Alex Fairley. And what they are doing is they are incorporating what they call basic panhandle values into higher education. It's things like hard work and personal responsibility and patriotism. That's what we need to be teaching, not only in our public schools, but our institutions of higher education. And West Texas A&M is not only doing that, but they're trying to make college education more affordable for their students. So we've had some of the state leaders have been up here and witnessed this, and hopefully what is going on at WT right now, here in the Panhandle of Texas, will become a model for what will happen in the rest of the state.
Thank you, John. Jamie, what are your thoughts with the legislature as to what might be done to start getting some of these costs in line?
So, higher education. I think you touched on some great points as far as how it's have a lot of woke initiatives going on in our higher education colleges across Texas and the United States for that matter. I think there are some conservative solutions out there. I was asked to attend the Wall Builders Legislative Summit. It's normally for senators and House reps all across the United States, and it was a session that was in Texas actually in the month of October in Dallas, and we had representation from all over the United States, and there was actually a plan presented at the summit about how we can start to move these woke universities more to the right. And so part of that plan is us changing out that AP College Board and having a conservative version of that, because they're controlling and dictating what is going to be taught. And part of that would be changing out the structure of some universities where they have the power, and I'm summarizing, but basically to get rid of some of these tenured professors that are making these decisions. So until we do that and start changing the direction of our universities, nothing's going to change. And I think when we get them back on track, I think one, that'll increase attendance across the United States.
Thank you. Next question, Jenny, what's your position on school choice and school vouchers?
I really only get a minute for that.
You can take a minute and a half.
Okay, so the Republican Party of Texas legislative priority is no strings attached school choice. The no strings attached is super important, and we fought really hard at our state convention to make sure that that was in there. And so, no strings attached means that we don't want the government to get their hooks into our Christian schools, our private schools, because once they take the money, then they're never going to let go. They're going to mandate and dictate and tell us what to do. And this beautiful, beautiful thing that every parent in Texas wants, some of them want for their kids, and they're desiring to get for their kids, it's going to go away. It's going to dissolve, and it's going to morph into something else once the government gets their hooks in. What would be a no strings attached school choice? Just like if you own farmland, you get an ag exemption, right? So you're never giving your money to the government and then them giving it back to you with all these strings attached, with all these rules and things, right? So that would be the only kind of thing I would look for. I am passionate about Texas public education. I'm not a quitter. I feel like we need to, yes, take care of our teachers. We need to empower parents and parental rights. We need to have stronger enforcement in the classrooms. And again, we have, no matter what happens with school choice, we're going to have millions of children in Texas public education, and we've got to get it right. We've got to get it. We have to fix it. This is the future of Texas, and we need to take care of our kids.
Thank you, John. John, would you give us your thoughts on school choice and school vouchers?
Well, you know, it's amazing. I represent a district that has a number of rural school districts. Walcott and Adrian are two of the smaller districts in the state of Texas. I compare those districts to the Houston school district. It's a very diverse state. And it appears, I mean, it seems to me that these decisions as to whether to have a voucher system or ESAs would best be made on a local level, on a local option basis, which seems to make sense. And so you want the voters in each district to make that decision for that district. And you can have that debate where it needs to take place in the local district, in the local level, and let people that live in those districts make those decisions. That's the best way to do it. Now, there are some school districts in this state that I would not want my child going to school with. One of those is the Austin Independent School District. They have a gay pride week every year, and students are basically forced to participate. I don't want to indoctrinate students. I want them learning how to read and write, not being indoctrinated with ideology. And some of the schools that exist in Houston right now are dangerous. You have gangs present. You have all kinds of drugs. You have all kinds of problems. You can't pray there, but you can sell drugs there. It's amazing. And so that's the state that we see some of our public schools in. So parents need a way to protect their children. And so I think those decisions are best made on a local basis.
John, there's been a movement going through the state, city by city, for sanctuary cities for the unborn. Is there anything that in your mind, that the legislature needs to get involved with on that topic? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, you know, we passed, before the Dobbs decision came out, we passed the heartbeat bill, which was one of the strongest pro-life bills in the country. And we did that in a way that was engineered where we felt like we had a substantial likelihood that we could be upheld when it hit the federal courts and ultimately the Supreme Court. We never got an ultimate decision on that because in the interim, in 2022, the Supreme Court issued the Dobbs decision, which reversed Roe versus Wade. Thank God for that. And so as far as the sanctuary city legislation, there are some things that we can still do. We're still seeing abortions occurring in Texas with the pharmaceuticals, and we need the state needs to clamp down on that. We're also, and this has come up, is the area of trafficking for abortion, where you have organizations that are basically profiting and making money by moving young ladies out of the state to obtain an abortion. And we need to deal with that in every way that we can. As far as the local sanctuary city ordinances, I have a lot of confidence in our mayor and our current city council. I think that they've approached this the right way. Instead of just taking a boilerplate ordinance, what they've done is they've carefully deliberated. They took a lot of public input. I know I talk to the mayor very often about how we can make the city ordinance that's ultimately adopted work with the state law to achieve the most baby protective and young mother protective ordinance and statute in the city of Amarillo and the state of Texas that work together possible. Definitely Amarillo needs to be a sanctuary city for the unborn, definitely. And now the really hard part is seeing how to work with that ordinance.
Thank you. Jamie?
First of all, back on school choice, I'm an advocate for local control as well, as why it's part of my platform. But again, my question would be, why didn't we have any bills presented in the House that had anything that had local control with school choice as an option? There weren't any. It was quite the opposite. As far as sanctuary city of the unborn goes, I'm 100% pro-life, and there's not a but after that. Where I stand, I just believe one day I'm going to meet my maker, and he's going to say, Jamie, and look me right between the eyes and say, did you do everything that you possibly could to protect the innocent? And I want to make sure that my answer is yes. Absolutely yes. Whatever kind of deterrent there is out there, whatever tool we have available, I am willing to do it. And I will say that when we passed the heartbeat bill in Texas, it was celebrated not just in our state, but throughout the nation. And so that same mechanism that we're using in that is what is being applied here locally. And so and other cities and counties across Texas has adopted it. And so I have full faith that this will play out. I think we're seeing government at its best here locally. We have citizens that are advocating for what they feel, and we have elected officials. And so I think it will play out the way it needs to be, or things will change and we'll come back around. But where I stand is I will do everything I possibly can to save a life.
Jamie, one more question from the audience is your past affiliation with Randle Matters. People are concerned they may not be a conservative. How do you address those misgivings and concerns, and what can you tell the folks that they don't have to do?
Okay, first of all, I am a conservative, and when I started paying attention to Texas politics, which I really did not a lot, I always voted, of course, conservatively, always voted Republican, but I wanted to learn. I am a big, everything I possibly could, and I heard about this group in town that was trying to make Amarillo a better place. boys, and I understood that they were going to get really involved in school elections, and so that really interested me. I wanted to learn more. These were community businessmen, leaders that I had known. The main gentleman that was in charge was previously my Sunday school teacher. And so I said, absolutely, I want to get in this group. And so I did. I joined. They asked me. I said yes. And I was in it for about 11 months. I realized about that time that there were other things calling me, and that was everything that was going on with the Republican Party and these coalitions. I felt very led to devote more of my time to that. It was very consuming trying to travel back and forth to Austin. And so I left that group. I said, thank you guys so much. I just feel led over here. Did we agree on everything? We did not. Did I voice my opinion a lot? I did not. I was just sitting there kind of listening, learning. It was very interesting. It was a good experience. I don't regret it. A lot of those men, and there were a couple of women that came and went, are leaders in our community and do a lot of great things for our community. So I don't want to downplay that group or be negative towards that group in any way. If I were to do it all over again, I would still join them. I learned, but I feel led to spend my time in different areas, to focus on children, to focus on Texas.
Thank you, Jane. John, the audience has some specific questions for you too. One is the concern about how long you've served in the legislature. And they want to know, is this an issue that you're about to address? Because if you were to make a run for speaker, does that mean you're going to stay there for another 10 years, or do you have any plans on that? What can you tell us about your future in running and holding office down state?
Well, I've been in office for a long time, but one thing we've realized is that to make an impact in Austin, our best friend in the Panhandle is seniority. We've been very fortunate. We've had some senior members who have stayed, and that's why it's important for us to have seniority. I'll tell you what, seniority, the main thing that gets me, I can choose any committee in the House that I want to be on. And the last few sessions I've chosen state affairs, which most of the high-profile legislation comes through that committee. It's one of the hardest committees to get on, but I can get on that committee just by asking for it because of my seniority. My seniority has also allowed me to build relationships with the other members. I can say that all of the other, I get along with every Republican member in the Texas House. Very few people can say that. Fort Price can say it, and I can say it. We get along with everybody. And we know that there's nothing, I can't do anything for this community unless I get 75 other House members to go along with me. Nothing. I can't do anything. I can't get any funding. I can't pass any bill that will benefit this community unless I can get at least 75 other House members to help me, and usually the Speaker. And so I have to have a good relationship with committee chairwomen, and also with the Speaker to get anything done for this community. And so you look at what we've been able to accomplish for this area with basically, as I said, 2.5 members. It's pretty impressive. Most other areas of the state envy what we've been able to put together for the Panhandle. We do some special things for an area that we really love. And one of the things that I want to do before, not necessarily before my tenure in the legislature, we're going to get that loop around Amarillo completed. And then you see the machinery out there now, and I'm telling you, we're going to get it completed. So.
I think that there's a little bit of doubt obviously out there in the crowd on that. We've got about 1 minute left for each one of you. Want to give us your closing thoughts? Got the mic over there.
I just have to address the last question since I did a rebuttal on that. Seniority. If you ask anybody, where is the power in the Texas House? Of course, the Speaker, but besides that, it's the committee chairmanships. The committee chairs have all the power, and Representative Cynthia is not a chair. So if the seniority gets us so much, why is he not a chair right now? And then I would add to that, you mentioned state affairs. I'm just going to be blunt. If you ask any of the grassroots conservatives across Texas, what is the number one, not counting calendars committee, what is the number one committee that we probably had the most conservative legislation fail? It's state affairs. It comes up again and again and again. And so again, if this seniority is moving the needle for us, I'm not seeing it, respectfully. That's my opinion. But plenty of others agree with me. Closing, I would say, this is a hard deal. It's not really fun to stand up here and say these kind of things. But I am up here because I feel called. I feel led. I am just a citizen like you guys who's stepping forward, volunteering my time, asking you guys to hire me for a small amount of money, but hire me to go work for you down in Austin. I am an all-in kind of girl. I will give you my heart, my soul, all of my time, all of my resources to do the absolute best job I can to represent our conservative panhandle values. And I will fight aggressively. I will increase communication. I will be at this job full-time. And you have my cell phone numbers, and any of you can call me anytime you want, and I will call you back. Thank you.
You know, we talked about this at the last forum we had, so I better address it again. You know, I've been a committee chairman more sessions than any other person in the history of the Texas House. I was chair of the Insurance Committee for 22 years, chair of the Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence Committee for 4. And the reason that I'm not a chair right now is that we live in a situation where a deal that hasn't always been the case, but to be a committee chair, you have to basically pledge loyalty to the speaker. You have to vote the way the speaker wants you to vote. I don't go to Austin to represent the speaker. I go to Austin to represent the men and women and children of the Texas Panhandle. And an example of that is the Paxton impeachment. I was told that if you stand up for Ken Paxton against his impeachment, you may never get another bill passed as long as they feel in the speaker. You know, that's a pretty big deal. And that may be true. It may not. I don't know. But you think about it and you think, am I going to be intimidated not to do what I think is the right thing? And so I got up there and gave what I thought was a great speech. Ended up getting 23 votes. You know, I don't think I changed anybody's mind. But sometimes you just got to stand up for what's right. And I'm not going to trade the independence that you all have given me and the responsibility that you all have given me for a committee chairmanship. It's not worth it to me. I want to do the right thing and be the kind of representative you want. And I get all my work done. I get my bills passed, even though I'm not a committee chairman.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Smithy and James Haynes are your candidates for 86th District. Folks, thank you very much for being here.
This is it. We got our Texas House District 87. All of our candidates will go ahead and come up here. This is going to be fun. Alright, let's get started. So these are our 3 candidates. We're missing one. So basically the way that this is going to go, now we're going to have 1 minute for your intro, okay? And we're going to do some group questions. We're going to have 1 minute for that. We're going to have individual, we'll have 3 minutes for that, okay? And then we'll do our closing segment. Okay? Alright, we're going to start in ballot order. Richard, BA, go ahead, give your intro.
Yes, thank you for everybody for showing up tonight. Happy to be here. It's good to see a good crowd. I am being referred to as the man from Perrington. I am. Judy and I are coming back to Amarillo quite a bit, but I've got to find out where the autopilot button is in the car. I'm a businessman in Perrington. We own a small oil and gas company. I'm on the school board and have been on the school board for 11 years in Perrington. Judy and I have had 3 kids graduate from public education, 2 valedictorians and 1 National Merit Scholar. We know exactly what the value of a good public education is. I'm the chairman of the board for Panhandle Producers and Royalty Owners Association. It's a mouthful. And that is the organization here in Amarillo that is your primary liaison to a lot of the energy issues downstate. In that role, I'm down in Austin quite often dealing with a lot of regulatory burdens put upon business that is getting to be very onerous for our prosperity and for our health of our energy industry in this state and in the nation. I'm also on the appraisal board. I'm also have been on the Chamber of Commerce. I've got a lot of different activities that I have done. You may not know Richard B.A., but you know me. I've been the person standing next to you on the sidelines coaching soccer, coaching baseball, and I thank you for that.
Thanks, sir. I did forget to mention one thing about him. He is also the chair of the Panhandle Producers and Royalty Owners Association.
That's it.
All right. Now we're going to move on to Caroline Fairley. Caroline Fairley is currently working in the healthcare industry, specifically healthcare affordability. She has legislative experience in D.C. through working and campaigning for Congressman Ronnie Jackson.
Thank you. First off, thank you everybody for being here tonight. Thank you, Amarillo Pioneer, for hosting this. I'm Caroline Fairley. I was born and raised here in Amarillo in the Texas Panhandle. After college, I went to work on Congressman Ronnie Jackson's campaign and ultimately moved to Washington, D.C. with him, worked with him there. Eventually moved back to Texas here in Amarillo, where I work in healthcare. I negotiated medical bills and then led a team that focused on healthcare costs. To keep it simple and short, I'm a very conservative person. I believe that values are important. Really, I believe that faith and biblical principles really is what guides the way I think and make decisions. And I believe they're worth defending, fighting. I believe they're the only hope that we have for Texas and really our country. And I would be honored to represent all of you in Austin. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Now we have Cindy Bola. Cindy Bola, she works in the real estate industry. She owns Realty Central Services, and she's been chair of the Amarillo Association of Realtors, chair of Texas Realtors, and VP of the National Realtors Association.
Thank you. Unlike the term president or senator or governor, the term representative is more descriptive than it is a title. And that's because our system recognizes that the representative is the closest person to the people of the district they represent. You've got push cards that will tell you that I'm a lifelong conservative woman. Those same push cards will tell you that I have decades of experience crafting conservative legislation and conservative policy at the national, state, and local level. They'll tell you that I'm a business owner and a mother and a teacher and a speaker. But what they won't tell you is the important difference in this race. I am a passionate ambassador for our Amarillo and the Texas Panhandle. I have been working with you and for you for decades. This ask of you to give me the opportunity to be a representative is just an extension of that same one.
Thank you, Cindy. All right. Now, prepare yourself, everybody. This first question is a doozy. Cindy, you can have the first question. Everybody, just prepare yourself, okay? This is an audience question. What is your favorite color? That's a tough one.
I'll take that.
It is a tough one. Well, it's got to be red, right? Red!
Caroline?
Blue.
Blue? Okay.
It is red.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. That was tough. I know. All right. Now, the rest of them, they really are serious. They're pretty tough. So, we want to make sure that you guys have plenty of time, that you answer these fairly. But we're going to do 1 minute for the group questions, okay? So, the second question, in what way does your individual life experience prepare you for this position? We'll start with you, Caroline.
So, I believe I'm uniquely qualified for this position. I worked in Washington, D.C. with Congressman Ronnie Jackson. I saw firsthand the dysfunction in D.C. And really, I learned what it looks like to be a strong leader, to stand strong, to defend values and principles no matter the cost. And really what I learned in DC, I'm not naive to politics. I'm not naive to how that all works. The other part of this is my work in healthcare. I negotiate medical bills. I led a team that focused on cutting healthcare costs. And so really a lot of times what that means is, we build relationships with sophisticated hospital systems and insurance companies and figure out how to get deals done. And in those negotiations or building relationships, sometimes there's a 12-year-old kid with cancer going, and I cannot fail. Like, I have to get the deal done. And all of those tools of learning how to build relationships, how to communicate well, how to negotiate are going to be very effective in Austin. At the end of the day, if you can't build relationships with people, and let's not be naive, no one here is going to walk in to Austin and have all the relationships. No one's going to replace 4 crisis relationships that you've built in the last 14 years. But if you can't walk into Austin and know how to communicate, build relationships with people across the aisle, and negotiate and convince people why your bill should be the one to be voted on, you're not going to be very effective. And thankfully, I've learned so much from Congressman Ronnie Jackson on this, and also have started building relationships with other state representatives who have called me and said, hey, Carolyn, we want to work with you. What do we need to do to help you? And so, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. I'm going to ask it again.
Yeah, go ahead.
In what way does your individual life experience prepare you for this position?
Well, you heard a bunch of my resume there too. Caroline told me here about a month ago that I thought I'd made every mistake I'd ever offered in life. And Caroline told me I made one more, which was I came back from vacation too quick. I think she meant it nice. You heard the resume, guys. You have to learn by doing, and there's lots of hard choices. None of this comes easy. We know this. We've got a lot of hard choices ahead of us as a Republican Party. Were we born for such a time as this? I think I am prepared for it because I'm a businessman. I'm not a politician. I don't see any reason to probably go get reelected. Okay? I think I'm just have taken every role in my life as a point of service. One of the things that bothers me in Austin when I go down there, I don't see a lot of people that remember their public servants. We really would need the word servant back in those jobs. We are letting government get too big. We are letting government get far too intrusive on all levels. I intend to change that.
And Richard? Same question?
Thank you. My life has been a series of fits and starts. I ran away from home when I was 15 years old, and my life could have gone so wrong. And the landing place that I had here as a young single mother with 2 children was in Potter County, Texas. It was right here. And I'm a product of the public schools and the help and the support and the love and the goodness of this area. And there is nobody better positioned to go up and make that argument from that back freshman podium on the House floor about how important our issues are and how our conservative values are so integral to the success of our entire state. That's economic success, it's social success, it's the success of the entire country. Nobody can make that better than I can.
Thank you. I want to ask you this question. What steps will you take to protect oil and gas jobs in Texas despite the push in Washington to eliminate fossil fuels?
Well, the first thing we all need to do is make sure that the administration changes in Washington in November. That's what we have to do first. Number one, we have to protect our energy resources, and that has to include fossil fuels. We have got to stop this war on fossil fuels. We have got to stop the panic over, we are all smart enough to understand science when we understand science. But this climate change agenda has become just that. We're not talking about science anymore. We're talking about agendas. So we've got to get laser focused on truths and an all of the above approach on energy. And there is no time that I can foresee in my personal lifetime that we are going to distance ourselves or eliminate fossil fuels. We are doing an amazing job in the fossil fuel industry already in making them cleaner and better. And the United States of America has led that charge, and the state of Texas has led that charge. And it is nothing more than a political game that's being played right now, and an assault on that. We have to keep a Republican administration in at the national level. We have to keep Texas red, and we have to be laser focused on that.
As West Texans, we prioritize oil and gas, and we would all agree that it's so important here in the Panhandle and here in this area. And I can tell you, this question is very simple to answer. I will oppose any efforts that the liberals or Democrats or far left wing try to do to shut down our oil and gas and stop the use of fossil fuels. Under President Trump, we were pretty much energy independent, and we have got to get back to that. The other part of this is this phony green climate change is another agenda from the left. Is really trying to essentially get the government to come in and dictate and tell us how we should live, how we should do our jobs, and we have got to stop that and stop the left from getting in that. And so I can tell you, it's just very simple. We've got to protect our oil and gas industry and fossil fuels, and I will be sure to be a voice for that in Austin, because these West Texas Panhandle values, they're worth fighting, and we got to get people to realize how valuable we are here and what we provide to the rest of Texas.
All right, Richard, you got it. What is your position on the efforts to declare Amarillo a sanctuary city for the unborn?
Well, I'm in Perryton, but I would support that if I lived in Amarillo. I think there's no way. We've made choices on how we're going to protect life. We've made a bunch of very bad choices. Roe v. Wade was always bad law and should have never been in the federal jurisdiction. The problem is we have so many reinterpretations of the Constitution. The Constitution is fairly simple to read, simple in purpose, and pretty resolute. And what we have is continued overreaches from the federal government reaching into all our lives. But the protection of the unborn has got to be our number one priority. What does it say to us as a people if we're participating in things that are just ghoulish? What does it say about us as people? When we look at the New York State Legislature, that when they passed the partial birth abortion bill, the legislators stood up and cheered. I'm not sure I have anything in common with the people on the coast right now. But we need to draw our own lines. God's drawing lines here, guys. And we need to be Texas, not something that keeps getting forced on us by the national media.
Carolyn, you can repeat.
No, So first off, with this specific question, I have a few questions about it, and I'm still looking into that. I'll be honest with you guys, I campaign 8 hours a week, and so I'm still looking into how that would affect. But let me be clear, I am 100% pro-life. I was endorsed by Texas Right to Life, and I've done a lot of work with Hope Choice Pregnancy Center here in Amarillo. I have a lot of personal stories with different women who wanted abortions and didn't get them, and so protecting the unborn is the most important thing that we have to focus on. But the main point I want to make here is, I see a lot of well-intended pro-life folks disagree with other well-intended pro-life folks. And I see that in Amarillo, and the point I want to make is, folks, we have got to be united on this issue. We have to be united and remember that we all are fighting for the unborn, and we all believe that life begins at conception. Roe v. Wade is 50 years. It took us 50 years. And we did that by uniting as a conservative party and advocating for the unborn and making sure that that was a top priority, and we have gone way too far to go back. And so what I'm focused on is how do we unite together as a world, remember what we all believe in, and make sure that this doesn't become a dividing topic, but that we all come together to remember what we all believe in, and that we believe that life begins at conception.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you. I believe that our city council is populated by 5 people that we can trust that are all pro-life people, and they are working hard to find the right resolution. I will join them, and I join all of you in protecting and preserving life. Everything that we can do at the local or state level to save lives needs to be done. That said, we have to understand that we have strong state legislation in place, and the debate right now is not among pro-life and pro-choice. It's among good neighbors that we elected that are listening to their constituents, in this case the city of Amarillo, and trying to make a good judgment. And if what they're doing would save a life, I know that all 4 of them would jump in there. What they're doing right now is methodical and meticulous, and we should be proud of them. It's all about saving lives, and I support that.
All right. Now this question, when considering proposed changes to the state's penal code, are there any offenses for which you believe the legislature should reduce rather than strengthen penalties? Please explain.
Nothing comes to mind that I would reduce the penalties for. Crime is out of control. Every level of crime is out of control. What I would do is do more preventative work. I would make sure as a legislator for you that we do more preemptive things and that we do those on a micro level. We are missing opportunities with our young children. We are missing opportunities to socialize our young children into understanding social constructs and working within those social constructs. High school level, this is where we lose them, folks. This is where we lose them. Our public schools are doing a great job in District 87. I've been out there, I've seen them, I've seen their work. They're intervening with some of these kids that are problem kids. So if we get really laser focused on prevention, maybe we can stop that. But no, until we start cracking down on every level of crime and every crime, regardless of whether we think it's a high level or a low level crime, there are appropriate penalties in place and they need to be enforced. And if we enforce them more often, I think we would have less criminals on the street.
Thank you. Aaron?
Could you repeat that one more time?
When considering proposed changes to the state's penal code, are there any offenses for which you believe the legislature should reduce rather than strengthen penalties?
So the answer is no, I wouldn't change anything either. I believe that we have got to make sure that we don't have crime. We could look at the border, the amount of illegal immigrants coming over, the amount of crime that is coming into our country, and really at the state of Texas. We've got to make sure that we crack down on that. We've got to make sure that when it comes to crime, that we are putting the correct enforcements and correct punishments with regard to whatever that is, from the local level, state level, federal level. So we've got to make sure that what we're doing is making sure we have good ways to crack down on that. The other thing is that we do want to invest in our future children and the next generation to not be following those habits. We've got to have programs that help those kids. I spent a lot of time with the sheriffs here in Amarillo and looking at the jails to say, hey, what are the programs we can do to help these kids or families or parents not go back into the way they were doing it, be a cyclical thing that happens. And so we've got to make sure we look into programs that will help those kids or families to reduce that.
Thank you.
Yeah, reducing is not really my language on any of this stuff. Let me give you an example. I'm on the school board in Perry. We have been infiltrated so much by liberal groupthink, and I'm saying that nice, that we had to have a definition into our school board here a few weeks ago what actually constitutes torture. There were some incidences that came up, and I couldn't believe it till it, and I don't usually react real well to this stuff. But quite honestly, if they have to explain to me what the word torture means after we know what the incident was, something is decidedly wrong. And it's infiltrated all of our big cities, and it's infiltrated. Guys, look at our country. That the whole thing seems upside down sometimes. Good behaviors are punished, bad behaviors are rewarded. So no, I can't see a single incident where we're reducing is good at all.
Thank you, Richard. All right. So let's get like 30 seconds on this one. It's kind of a yes or no. Just give a brief answer. Texas is one of 12 states without a statewide smoking ban for public places, including workplaces and restaurants. Should Texas consider passing a statewide smoking ban? Richard.
I'm big on local control. Thomas Jefferson told us that government governs best, which governs least. These decisions, just like my school rules, everything we do works better locally. So, no from the state.
Thank you. Ms. Fairley?
Ronald Reagan's 9 most famous words, hi, I'm from the government, I'm helping. We got to make sure that, again, we don't need the government to come in and put regulations in. The answer is no for me. Those decisions can be made locally on what they think is best for their communities and their districts.
Thank you.
It's a hard no for me.
Awesome. Thank you all. All right, this is the last group question. This is a doozy. What's your favorite shape? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, so that was our last group question. We are going to move on to the individual questions. And then y'all have 3 minutes for this, and then we'll do a closing statement about 1 minute. Okay? Cindy, since you have the mic already. A recent text was sent out from Texans for Fiscal Responsibility alleging that you have donated to Democrats. Can you please respond to these allegations and clarify whether you have personally donated to Democrats or donated to Democrats through your work with Texas Realtors?
Yes, I was hoping I'd get to answer this. Thank you. So I'm as part of my leadership journey with Texas Realtors, I'm part of a program called President's Circle. And in that President's Circle program, we pledge to do $500 4 times a year to national candidates that are designated as private property rights champions. So I've been in that for about 12 years and given a little over $50,000 to various causes through there, not just the PAC itself, the Realtors PAC itself, and to individual candidates 4 times a year, $500. In all of those years, and you can look this up, every single one of them except one was to a Republican. One was to a Fort Worth-based Democrat. Last name is VC. I don't remember the first name. I think he may still be there. And let me tell you why I did that. I was part of a group of issues mobilization people and on the Texas Realtors leadership team when the Trump administration was trying to pass tax reform. And as part of that initial tax reform package, the GOP was trying to eliminate the 1031 tax exchange. Now, not all of you may know what that is, but if you're a farmer or a rancher or an owner of real property assets, you know what that is and you know how important it is. They were also trying to eliminate the state and local tax deduction. I was part of a very core group that was in the room in the final negotiations of that had the opportunity to keep both of those 2 opportunities, which are so critical to Texas and especially to the Texas Panhandle. One of the Democrats who helped us was a Texas-based Democrat, and he was a congressman named Mark Vesey. He was in a safe seat. He was going to be reelected, but as a show of appreciation for that person helping us get keep that in there as part of our Texas delegation, I and a number of other conservative Republican people sent a $500 donation through that President's Circle. Every other donation I've made in my lifetime has been either to a local candidate that was undeclared, I don't know, some of them may have been Democrats, but every other one was to a Republican except that one, and that was to get a very Republican piece of legislation passed.
Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate that. All right, Ms. Fairley. According to the Hansford Informer, your father, Alex Fairley, has donated millions of dollars to local and federal candidates and organizations over the past few years. Some have alleged that this shows that your father is attempting to buy you a seat in the Texas House. How do you respond to these allegations?
Thank you. So, a few things. Just kind of two separate topics. My father, Alex, and then some of these endorsements. So first off, people have asked me this about, hey, these endorsements you have, what's going on with them, and really the reality is I'm very proud to have all of them. I mean, I have them from Senator Ted Cruz, Ronnie Jackson, Senator Kevin Sparks. I have it from the local Amarillo Police Department, Fire Department, local Mayor Cole Stanley. I have local mayors in Stratford, Virginia, who endorsed me. And really, this question is not for me. This question is for them. And what I really think is, are we challenging the integrity of Ted Cruz and Ronnie Jackson and Cole Stanley and these mayors? And really, the question is to them and to ask them why. And really, the other part of this is my dad. I'm very proud of him. I'm really proud of what he's done in Amarillo. I mean, he took a stand on principle when others didn't. And he had a voice for people here in Amarillo who didn't have a voice. And ultimately what he did was very inspiring, and the reality is most people love him. Like I've now knocked on 500 plus doors, and most of the time I knock on a door, someone says, are you Alex and Cheryl Fairley, are they your parents? And 99% of the time people say, oh my goodness, I love what he did. I love what he did for Amarillo. I love what he did for us. He saved the city. Even Democrats sometimes have told me, man, I love your dad. But the thing is that my dad's not running for House of Representatives. I'm running for House of Representatives. I'm the one who has traveled 4,000 miles outside of Amarillo, Texas. I'm the one who's knocked on 500 plus doors. I'm the one who has gotten these local endorsements from Cole Stanley in these small towns. I'm the one who was interrogated with questions for 40 minutes from Senator Ted Cruz, which I will tell you is very intimidating. And he asked me, said, Caroline, last question he said, what do you want to be remembered as in Austin? And I said, Senator Cruz, I said, I want to be remembered as someone who was willing to not sell out to the Austin people and the lobbyists and the way of life, and to stand on principles and values. And the other part of this is, you guys, a lot of you maybe I've met with, we've had coffee, we've had meetings, and you know my heart. You know I'm running. You know I care about conservative values. You know I believe in the West Texas panhandle way of living. You know that I care about listening to your concerns and questions. You know that I genuinely care about the people here in the panhandle, and I care about being a voice in Austin. And at the end of the day, I am the one who will represent you in Austin. And I would be so honored to be able to do that, because we have to make sure that we get people in Austin who will be an advocate for these conservative values that we all believe in. Thank
you. Okay, Richard, this is for you. In 2023, the Perryton School Board placed the largest bond election in the district's history on the ballot. Despite your position as a board member, you did not attend the meeting in which the district called the election. Did you support calling this bond election, and if so, how do you reconcile this position with the need for further tax relief in Austin?
Chew on that one for a second. Yes, I supported the bond election. I was just out of town at the time. We all have facility needs in our school districts. The idea that we can continue to ignore some of those are not realistic. But debt is not the way to prosperity. And the people that talked a little bit earlier, a couple of you said that we've continued to increase debt loads. We're in debt loads on at school level, debt loads on our state level, debt loads on the property owner. All this stuff comes from the taxpayer, right? What I noticed, we had a big boom in oil and gas prices. We had a huge surplus last year. We had a party in Austin, okay? I'm in a small school district, and when we have those big commodity cycles come through, we have to deal with big swings on our revenue base. We go from surpluses in the school to start to riff people, looking at laying people off our school system. It's a terrible way to do things. We need big tax relief. And guys, quite honestly, every time you've got a proposition this year talking about removing all the property taxes. Isn't that wonderful? But the problem is you have to pay for something. There's a second part of that question is not asked. What do I replace it with? We don't get off easy, guys. But the biggest problem, whether it's at the federal level, at the local level, at our state level, is deficit spending. Well, not deficit, required a balanced budget, but we are following debt patterns that are more like California was 20 years ago than what Texas is. We need to get control on this spending. Every time I hear a conversation about which taxes do we need next, the first thing that should be done is where can we cut spending? Government's too big.
Okay, we're almost to the end. Real quick, just give us a quick answer. Who is your favorite Supreme Court justice and current justice? Cannot be a former.
Antonin Scalia for the last one, but yeah, I think I admire Clarence Thomas with the way he's been attacked and the way he's continued to persevere. And we've got Samuel Alito. I mean, you've got some really good justices, and I won't mention the ones that have been disappointing.
I'd have to agree with Richard Scalia. Yes.
Thank you. Cindy?
So it would be hard not to go with that, yes. I absolutely agree.
Great, thank you all. Okay, so now you'll have your closing statement. If you'll give it to Richard, we'll start, we'll end this with the ballot order. And you'll have 1 minute.
I'll have to say in 1 minute. You can give me my chance to answer my energy questions. I'm right in the middle of that. You guys know the energy industry here, Save the Whales, right? I usually use that in group. My group talks to the industry people. Guys, we've got a lot of work cut out for us here. We can look at the national level, look what a disaster that thing is. But President Trump talks about the swamp in Washington, the swamps, I will guarantee the swamps with us in Austin too. I can give you multiple examples. But guys, what's important here, we can't focus on, let's get rid of Joe Biden and our problems are over. It is up and down the ladder. It is, I will tell you, on the school board, I still think the most important election we have in the country is on our local school boards. And if you don't believe me, get into some of those conversations with some of the school district trustees downstate. Some of the stuff we see going on in California and Virginia is going on around in some of the rural districts in Austin. You have to send somebody to Austin that is going to be able to advocate for tough choices. We had, well, I got 1 minute, right? Life is not easy. We're going to be challenged. And I pray that we as a party have got to unify and that we have been born for times such as these, that we can put this nation and this state back on the right path. Thank you.
First off, thank you, Randle Pioneer, you guys for putting this on. I'm so glad that we have these. I feel like now we're jumping from forum to forum to forum, so it's really really fun. And really, I'd be honored to be your voice in Austin. I'd be honored to have your vote and represent you. With the 30 seconds I have left, I personally would love to all invite you to join the governor and I tomorrow at Tyler's Barbecue. He is coming to Amarillo, and I'm so excited that he's making a stop here, campaign stop. It'll be at 10 a.m. tomorrow at Tyler's Barbecue, and doors open at 9:30. But I would love to see all of you there. I think it'll be a good morning. You won't really hear me talk. It'll be primarily them, so it'll be good. But thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to what I started with, and that's representative. Potter County, Carson County, all of the 8 counties of the 87th district are very different, even than the 86th district. The challenges in North Amarillo are very different than the challenges in South Amarillo. The opportunities are different. I am a Potter County resident since 1999. I have been there. I have been working in the different areas of Potter County that are most at risk. I have been up in the Panhandle. I have stood there as a bus full of high school students left to go play in what would seem like the most important football game of all time at 7 o'clock in the morning as they drove out and the whole city closed in order to come and say goodbye to those kids and wish them well. I know what public schools mean to our neighborhoods in Potter County and to our Panhandle residents. I know that they are not just the schools, they are the whole cities themselves. I know how important they are to the economy and the success of Texas. I can talk the business lingo, I've been there. I can be the representative for the 8 counties of District 87, and I'm asking for your vote. Cindy Bulla on March the 5th.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Please give it up again. Make sure that you ask them questions, grill them. Make sure that you want to pick the right person to be your elected official. Thank you all. All right, that's it, everybody. I'm going to bring Thomas and Warren up here. You all please give it up for Thomas.
All right, thank you all for being here. We're dismissed. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thank you.